Hello everyone, this is going to be your new moon in Virgo psychic astrology reading. It's occurring on September 14th, 2023 at 9:40 p.m. Eastern, but times will vary depending on your location. It's involved in a grand trine in Earth. We're going to take a look at this and other astrological influences happening at that very moment. First I want to introduce myself. My name is Vickieverlie, and you can find me at vickieverlie.com. When you are watching the Rock and Roll Prophetess on YouTube. If you enjoy this content, I invite you to subscribe. And without further ado, let's dive into the reading. Now, this is a psychic or intuitive reading. It is based in astrology, but often guides will come through with messages and downloads during the process. So it's very much a psychic reading as well. Yeah, as I said in the opening, it's involved in this grand trine in Earth, which is very powerful. So we've got the new moon over here at 21 degrees of Virgo. It's trining the Pluto at 28 degrees of Capricorn, trining the Uranus and the part of Fortune actually, and the 22 and 24 degrees of Taurus. So it's forming this grand trine in Earth. So a grand trine in Earth typically is very much manifesting in the material world, grounding in reality. This is a major manifesting moon. The Mercury is still retrograde in Virgo, but it's going to go direct, I believe, later that day or the next day. It's stopped. Mercury is just about stopped. It's at 0007, and it's about to turn direct. So kicking off these events, kicking off these, what do we want to ground into reality? What do we want to make a plan about in Virgo that we're going to manifest in the physical world? Even though it's grounded in Earth, Pluto and Uranus are both could be considered very disruptive energies. So it could be major changes happening, big changes, big events. After all the retrogrades, everything's finally moving forward, with Mercury following, the next day or so. Saturn's still retrograde. I mean, some of the outer planets are still retrograde, but Venus is direct. Some of the personal planets or the inner planets are moving direct now, so things can really get moving. What do we want to do with our life moving forward? This is also not that far off from the Ingress, which is going to be on the 20. I think it's on the 23rd, so it's, about a week away from the Ingress. I believe I'm going to do a separate video on the Ingress, so keep an eye out for that if you enjoy that kind of reading as well. But at any rate, it's a big turning point. Everything is moving forward. We've got this earth energy. What are we planting these seeds in the ground that we want to grow further, that we want to be our foundation in this earth plane, in this grounded earth energy moving forward? So the Pluto-Uranus, this has been going on for some time. The Pluto's been there for some time. There's a lot of energy around change, and it's putting the final touches on these changes, I want to say. Pluto is aspecting not only, and the new moon is opposing the Neptune too. And the Pluto has been aspecting the Neptune, and the Uranus is aspect. So Neptune is definitely a big part in this. It's still. So Neptune is our dreams, our subconscious mind, things that are not actually maybe tangible in the physical reality. And so with this Virgo and all this earth energy, things that have not been tangible in the physical reality can absolutely get a strong hold, get grounded in the earth, get planted. The Neptune, I told this story, a lot of people responded to. Just a quick recap, a friend of mine died. He was a musician, and his signature song was Little Wing, which I didn't even get at the time, but I'm getting out of the car and this feather falls straight down, this tiny little feather. I opened my hand and it fell right on my hand. So it was so magical. It was the magic of this Neptunian energy. But also what I forgot to mention in that last video was I talked about how, Neptune's always there. The Neptunian energy, the spiritual energy, it's always there. It's always, this magical energy is always happening. When it interacts with the earth energy, excuse me, when it interacts with the earth energy, that is when these physical things can manifest. And the second part of that story is, I was saying in the last video, yeah, okay, We see this magic, it's always all around us, but we don't always respond to it. But that's the thing. I held my hand out. You have to hold your hand out. You have to accept what Spirit is offering. You have to be there to accept it or catch those ideas and that flow that's always going on in the collective unconscious or the collective conscious or the zeitgeist. There's always this flow and action. You have to hold your hand out to accept it. And then once you do, then the channel is open. The channel is open and the information can flow and be received from the ethers, from the higher realms of consciousness and spiritual realms into this earth plane, this very solid earth plane. Because if I hadn't held my hand out, it just would have fallen on the ground and blown away, and no one would have ever known about it. So there is this interaction with the ethereal, with the spiritual. Sometimes with this opposition, because it is an opposition, it can be a conflict. It can be what we thought in our subconscious mind or what we were dreaming of, and then the reality of it is never the same. Well, I find that to be true with anything, like songs that I'm working on, to a lesser extent music, because that's pretty straightforward a lot of times, but definitely in visual art, I'll have a vision of something I want to paint or I want to draw, and the actual physical manifestation is never quite exactly what I was dreaming of or visualizing. So there can be like this adjustment or a conflict between what your dreams are and what the reality is, or what you were hoping to manifest and then what actually you can manifest. But here's the thing about Virgo energy. With the Virgo energy, they'll work with what they have. Virgos are very much, okay, this is what I've got to work with. How can I figure this out? How can I make this work? Virgos are very much in the realm of let's make it work. Even if you're dealt lemons, the Virgos are the ones making that lemonade all the time, right? And Virgos are willing to the Virgo energy is willing to put in the work. It's not always that things are just going to fall from the sky. Things do fall from the sky, clearly, but what are you going to do with it? There's that old, the race to the patent office thing, how many times there's been these ideas, I get them all the time too. The universe is always broadcasting. That was one of my very first videos that I put up on YouTube. The universe is always broadcasting. But who's going to be the one that's going to be the boots on the ground, that's going to be the one to take what the universe is broadcasting and work out the kinks, put it to work, make it useful, make it functional? This is where the Virgo energy comes in. And Mercury is in Virgo as well, so that's that, using your mind, using your energy. And Mercury is ruler of Virgo. Well, it's ruler of Gemini, but it's also the ruler of Virgo too. Now the other thing about this Virgo energy is it is this sixth house, and it does rule over health and well-being. So if there's something that's kind of been Neptunian, sort of comes and goes, or you're not sure what it is, or whatever, this could be the time where you could really nail it down. You could get a quote-unquote diagnosis, but more so you could get a plan. You could make a plan about some kind of a health issue. You could make a plan. You could start a workout routine. You could start a new eating regimen, a new, some kind of a new health regimen that would be probably very successful, but you could really get a handle on any kind of health issues or plans for health in the physical body. Again, with the earth energy, we're talking about the physical plane, the physical embodiment is what the guides are coming through with. Now looking at this Mercury, let's take a look. It is opposing the Saturn. Yeah, we've got the Mercury opposed to Saturn. Well, what the guides just came through with is don't make promises that you can't keep. Don't make these big plans and then you can't follow through on them. Or maybe bite off more than you can chew is another, manifestation of this similar energy. Don't overpromise. Don't make promises you can't keep. Don't make promises that you can't fulfill. Don't bite off more than you can chew. Sometimes these dreams are so big and it's just like, yeah, I want to do this, I want to do that. You take on too much burden, because that can be a downfall of the Virgo energy too, like just taking on too much work and too much burden and overburdening yourself. You may have to, you know, enlist the help of others, or it might be more about like, let's get organized. Let's get our priorities straight. Let's make a list. Mercury and Virgo and the Virgo energy are really big on lists. You know, let's make a list. Let's make a list. Let's go through everything that we can, you know, what can we accomplish? You know, what can, realistically, let's be realistic. Because the Virgo energy is very much, let's be realistic. Let's be realistic. Can we really accomplish all this? Or what can I accomplish today or this week? Or, you know, what on my list can I accomplish on my own, realistically? And what do I need to call in help or backup for? Or enlist other people to help me with? Yeah, this Mercury is opposing the Saturn, like I said. But if you can get organized and if you can get it straight, it could really get you. Saturn always does want to give you that stronghold, give you that foothold, give you that that foundation, that base as well, to make your dreams become a reality. We've still got the Venus-Juno conjunction that we talked about last time, so we're wanting to bring this beauty forth into the world. We're wanting, if anybody's involved in, I'm hearing show business. I don't think people really use that song. I'm actually hearing the Ethel Merman. There's no business like show business. If you've never seen my videos, I do break into song occasionally, but that's how my guides come through a lot of times with music. So show business, you know. So if anybody out there's in show business, it just seems sort of an antiquated term, but I don't know why I'm laughing about it. It just seems funny. Well, I'm not laughing over the Ethel Merman singing in the background, which she still is in my... I'm still hearing the Ethel Merman rocking out there. But anyways, this would be a great time to move forward in these kind of situations, because that's all about this Venus and Leo. That's the performer. That's being on stage. That's, you know, that's that Ethel Merman kind of energy. You know, that's that Broadway, that stage, you know, all that kind of thing. So putting on these big shows, putting on these big productions, you know, singing out your true soul song is, you know, what the guys are coming through. Because she was, talk about a singer, I mean, her voice is so nasally, oh business, you know, but she had a, you know, powerful voice, and probably from, you know, in those days being on stage. If you ever noticed, you know, stage theater performers, you know, sing, they have a whole different approach to, you know, they have to really sing out. So this is a time to really sing out that soul song, sing out that, your purpose in life, or what you want to do, or to be noticed, or to be true to yourself, or to let your light shine. I missed it last time, but it is making a square. It's trining the Chiron. So let's talk about that too. It's very much healing energy. Again, we're tying it back to this Virgo, which is all about the healing and the health. But it's deeper than that. You know, it's a holistic thing. It's body, mind, and spirit. The Chiron energy, you know, these are healing these deep wounds that go back, you know, many. It's not a time to make yourself small necessarily. Although that can be the Virgo thing, like hunker down and get to work, don't make any waves, you know, just get busy and be of service. You know, that's the Virgo vibe. Like, how can I be of service? But with this, we want to really let ourselves be seen, let ourselves be known. Don't sweep it under the rug. Don't minimalize. You know, there's a dichotomy here with the Virgo energies very much. Let's minimalize it. Let's not make a big deal out of it. Where this Leo to the Chiron, it's like, no, you know, I have a right to be heard. I have a right to be seen. Your behavior towards me, and the behaviors and the situations and the incidents that have hurt and wounded me, you know, I will cry out about it. I will be seen. I will be heard. So that's that Chiron, especially Chiron in Aries. They will be seen. They will be heard. But also we've got this Venus-Juno squaring up with the Jupiter. I missed that last time. So that can be excess. You know, Jupiter and Leo, that can be excess for sure. You know, Jupiter and Venus and the sign of Leo and Taurus too can be excess. You know, going overboard, too much of a good thing. you know, indulgence. It can be a lot of indulgence that way, but it can also just be magnificence, you know, bringing through this magnificence, bringing through this, because the Venus in Leo, there is this regality about it, this regalness. There is this pride, but in the most integral way, you know, like knowing your worth, knowing that, but staying in your integrity. That's where the Virgo can bring in that humbleness, can bring in that modesty, but not to diminish it, only to, you know, shine without, you know, being obnoxious about it, I guess you could say. You know? Just shine because you're so full of the Venus energy here. You're so full of love and expressions of beauty and expressions of creativity, and just being present in, you know, and engaged and in the moment. So, and then that Jupiter too. The Jupiter, the guides came through with the Jupiter could pay dividends. So, because, you know, Taurus, that is the finances, money, things like this. So by being your best self, by really shining through, it could pay dividends or bring about some dividends. Yeah, all this Virgo stuff too, you were bringing in here. We got the node thing, the nodal square has been going on. Talked a lot about that in the Pisces video. Because of the cardinal energy, it's always this change of season, and we will be coming up on that Libra ingress later. The vertex is conjunct the south node, so that can absolutely be some kind of fate and destiny tied into past lives. So some kind of past life thing could be, well, I mean, it could just be your own soul's path. You may finally get that message, or it's something, again, with that Neptunian energy being so strong, you know, something that's always been, oh yes, someday I'm going to do that, or I always did love to do this thing, you know, I always had this interest or this whatever, and I'll get to it someday, or, you know, a lot of times I've found when you're telling somebody else, you know, you should really be doing this, your stuff is so good, you should do this. Like, I found myself doing that a lot. You know, you should really make a divination deck with your art. I tell people that all the time. It's just like, well, why don't I just do my own? Well, I have done. And I'm working on, actually, 2 decks. And I'm redoing the Rock'n'Roll Tarot deck, too, right now. So, you know, you tell other people, and it's really something that the universe, listen to your own advice. You get to work on that thing that, but, you know, sometimes with the Neptunian energy and that, it seems like it's just so out of your reach or out of your league, or you don't have time to mess with it, you know. Well, you find that time, work that time in to mess with it, because with this vertex energy and this whole past life thing, often it's something that, the reason that you vibe with it so strong is because you've done it in a past life or many past lives. And you're meant to discover that and bring it forth in this. And with the Chiron moving in, it's not there yet, but the Chiron being in Aries and moving in, you know, it could be very healing for you. That would be true whether the Chiron is there or not. We all have our true soul's calling, and it will be healing for you. When we find ourselves with physical health symptoms and different things, or feeling run down and everything, it's because we're not following our true soul's path. You know, we're trying to fit into a box that we don't, you know, putting that square peg in that round hole. So when we go with our north node, and when there's aspects of the nodes or different things are happening, this is when we can align with those things. This is when the universe is showing us those things, showing us those clues. And it's shown by what we vibe to, what we enjoy, what our interests are, what makes us shine, what makes us glow, back to the Venus energy. Back over here to the south node, not only is the vertex there, which is this another faded thing, but the Ceres is there. So again, it's calling us to our abundance. And in the northern hemisphere, we're moving towards this time of abundance. We're moving towards this time of the, you know, the fall season, the abundance, you know, the harvest time, which is the realm of Ceres. From our hard work that we've put in, in the sign of Virgo, in the energy of Virgo. We will reap our rewards as the planets start. And we've got Mars there, and these are all going to start following through and moving up here into Libra in that time of the cardinal sign of Libra, and in the northern hemisphere it is the harvest time. But it's at this, it's also squaring, the Ceres is squaring with the Pluto too. So what are you reaping? You're reaping the rewards of something. You are reaping the rewards of the work that you've done. What kind of work have you done? You reap what you sow. What have you sown? Because it's reaping time, baby. Also, our girl Lilith over here is at 29, making a sextile to the Ceres. So the Lilith at 29, we want to claim our rewards. We want to claim our rewards. We want to, well, we don't want to, we're going to, because it's this whole south node in this karma thing. The universe is going to bestow upon you the rewards for what have you been sowing, because this is the harvest time. This is what you're going to be reaping. Things from past lives are going to be showing up, whether you realize it or not. People from past lives are going to be showing up. Because after all, Libra, 7th house, is the signs of partnerships, relationships, all this kind of things. So these people that are popping up in your life at this time, there is going to be this energy of this past life stuff, this past life energy, this past life connections that are showing up to help propel you, to align you back to your true soul's calling, your true alignment that we all have. If you're interested in this kind of soul, past life soul stuff, I do offer that soul reading, which is astrology based, where I do look at the nodes and Saturn in your chart and stuff, and it's very much a psychic reading, and I tune into a lot of past lives, and but I use your chart as my tool to tune in, and the nodes play a huge part in that, But we're all being called, with the vertex, with the squaring of the Pluto, we're all being called as a collective right now to align with our relationships. There's relationships that are breaking, that are crumbling and falling apart. And there's relationships that are forming that have these past life implications or these past life connections. With the Venus and the Chiron, this can also be this, and the Lilith too, the 29 of Leo over here with the Lilith. All this Leo stuff. Starting with that Venus Leo Cassini thing a little bit ago, maybe last month or so. The thing is that, do your people, your relationships, the people you associate with, your tribe, do you pick each other up? Are you allowed to shine, or do you have to make yourself small? If you have to make yourself small to be in their presence or to be a part of a group, then maybe it's time that you don't do that anymore. Or if you have to walk on eggshells, or if you have to always be, if you can't really, to a point, again, with the obnoxious stuff, we don't want to take it overboard. Jupiter, there's a point where it gets a little bit overboard. But, your relationships, everybody has, there's ups and downs clearly, but for the most part, shouldn't your relationships be mutually inspiring, or lifting up, or picking up? Or is it something that you have to tiptoe around, or always be on eggshells? Or do they always try to, those frenemies that we have, but they always have to put their little snide remarks in, That can be the downside of that Mercury Virgo, put those little snide remarks in. If that's the case, we might be reevaluating some of that, because the other part of the South Node is the releasing, letting go, too. But feels more along the lines of maybe connections being made. And the Venus is sextiling the Mars. I knew that Mars was doing something, yeah. The Venus is sextiling the Mars. So there can be some love relationship stuff that can be worked out, with the sextile here. And there could be attraction. There could be great conversations, I'm hearing. You know, there could be great conversations had. Because that's one of the things, if you have, like, for instance, if you're natally, you have Mercury in the 7th house. Well, in your natal chart, little astrology side lesson here, in your natal wheel, whatever's in your 7th house is what you're looking for in a partner. What's in your 7th house is what you're looking for, and then where your Mars is what your sexual attraction is. So if you have Mercury in the 7th house, or even just, you know, a bunch like this, a bunch of Libra, air stuff, conversation is important. You know, somebody could be sexy as all get go, but if you can't have a conversation with them, if you have all this Libra, say if this is your natal wheel, if you have a bunch of Libra in your 7th house and you can't have a conversation with them, then it's not gonna fly. Other people, maybe conversation's not that important, you know. So that's another little astrology tip there, you know. And then where your Mars is too, that's where your sexual, physical, lusty, that's what you lust after, right? So like Mars in Libra, you might lust after physical beauty or somebody who's really creative. I have Mars in Leo, and I always like that big mane of hair, like Robert Plant hair, you know, because that's the big mane, like the Leo mane. So it's these physical, you know, kind of attributes that you're attracted to or you lust after, you know. Just a little side note there. But because we have all this stuff in the 7th house here. But, you know, with all this stuff in Libra and the 7th house collectively, you know, again, who are we interacting with on a daily basis? Who are we interacting with? Is there an undertone of aggression? Is there an undertone of competitiveness? Or maybe you like that undertone of competitive. If it's, you know, but is it getting to be a little bit too much? Some people like that. Some people, you know, like to have competitiveness, and that really, you know, that spurs them on. I've never been that way. I don't like people who are competing against me. You know, I feel like it's not a competition. You know, life's not a competition. But some people, you know, that spurs them on and that gets them going. Whether it's whatever, it doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. It can just be anybody, you know, the people that you're interacting with, the people that you're, you know, around. Because with the South Node in Libra, we're being called as a collective to maybe we're going to reevaluate and possibly even release some of these relationships that we've outgrown, that no longer serve us. I'm just looking at the aspectarian real quick and see if there's any big things that I forgot to talk about. New moon in Virgo here. So what do we want to work on? Let's not overburden ourselves. Let's make that list. Make that list and check it twice, you know, because even after this, we're going to be moving into the holiday season, you know, and then everybody gets so overburdened and overbusy. So take care of your health. Take care of yourself. Love yourself with the Venus energy. Let your light shine. Pull those creative ideas off the back burner. Make a plan, a workable plan to really get it done and get it, you know, do an outline, do a syllabus. You know, let's really make a plan to get things, to stay organized. We want to stay organized. It's a good time to organize. If you want to do like if you're in the southern hemisphere, spring cleaning or fall cleaning in the northern hemisphere, getting organized, but really this making a plan because of this big grand trine and the opposition to Saturn, which is also Capricorn. You know, Capricorn, Saturn is, you know, it's in a water sign of Pisces, but it's very much earth-oriented energy. So we're grounding into this reality. Take a look at our partnerships. Be aware of who we're dealing with. Are they making us? Do we feel better? Do we feel uplifted and happy after spending time with them, or do we feel drained after spending time with them? And morose. The guides are coming through with morose. There's a word. Anyhow, yeah. So thanks for tuning in. Hey, I do have, again, if you like these astrology readings, I do have the eclipse reading. It'll be available for a little short more time, where we look at your natal wheel, and we do use your wheel as the it's not whole houses. It's not 0 Aries. It's going to be your ascendant, you know, your house cusps, you know, and then we put the first eclipse and the second eclipse, and we look at that. That's available. And then I do have the soul readings too, like I was discussing, if you like the past life stuff, if that interests you with astrology. If you want to order a past life reading and you want to do the galactic heritage stuff, I do have that rundown of the fixed stars, you know, and if you have those fixed star points. But you have to definitely give me a note on that if you order it, that you want that included. I don't go and include that because it's very much a psychic reading, although often galactic kind of past life stuff will pop in. It's whatever the guides are going to show me, because it's whatever you're working on in this incarnation. You know, that's what's going to come through. And I'm sure many, or probably all of us, have had these galactic, you know, other lifetimes, but if that's not a factor in what you're working on in this incarnation, then it might not show up in the soul reading, if that makes any sense. Again, if you enjoyed this content, don't forget to hit the subscribe and like and everything. I really appreciate it. I'm the original tarot reader on YouTube, and I'm one of the very first psychics on YouTube. And, you know, I kind of get lost in the shuffle these days because there's just so many, you know, copycatters, you could just say, out there. And if you want to order a reading or anything, it's at vickieverlie.com. And I do, if you like my spiritual art, like the star card I just showed you and everything, you can find me on Instagram at vickieverlie, which I do post art there only. It's not a psychic channel, it's for my artwork, okay? I just started that recently. So check that out if you're interested, and follow along, as I'm going to be posting, you know, the deck creation. I've been posting. I'm doing a Hamza deck. I have the Spirits in the Mist deck that is underway, and then I'm going to be redoing that, my Rock and Roll Tarot deck also. So a lot going on for me too. Anyhow, everybody, remember that you are love and beauty incarnate. Have the best new moon ever, and we'll talk again soon.